As a golfer, you know this already. There's an almost unlimited number of gadgets and contraptions and innovations, all proclaiming that they have the power to help your game. Well, today, we're going to unbox and take a look at one of them called Swing Align. Visually, might be a little bit intimidating. So we're going to head inside the studio and see whether or not this has the potential to help your game. We have come inside the teaching studio at the Fortress Golf Course in Frankenmuth, Michigan to take a look at Swing Align. My friend Kyle Martin's the PGA Pro here. And as we get into this contraption, this innovation, before we start looking at it up close, what's the overall purpose of Swing Align?
Swing Align helps with arm structure. So a lot of people struggle getting their arms too far away from each other, or very few get their arms too close together, but most of the time that flying right elbow that a lot of people hear about or read about or watch and learn about, this helps fix some of that issue.
So the chicken wing kind of a thing where you're coming way up. Matthew Wolf would not be able to wear this.
Yeah,
right?
he'd be in some trouble.
But he's got a unique enough swing that he has honed it.
Right.
But he would not be their poster child for sure.
Yeah.
Are we, as golfers, and are you as an instructor frequently seeing that issue with the arms flying apart during the swing and then causing all sorts of mayhem?
Yeah, everybody tries to generate power in their backswing and transition into downswing differently. And so you do see some interesting moves. So this could have some application to some of those players.
Okay, so let me tell everybody right off the start of this review that neither Kyle nor I are being paid a penny for this. They're not a sponsor of ours. So this is an honest review. If we like it, we like it. If we don't, we don't. And our apologies to Swing Align if that turns out to be the case. We're not there yet, but I wanted you to know where we're coming from because this is an unbiased review. Now, before the camera started rolling, there was some assembly required. You said it reminded you of Christmas morning with your kids' toys that you had to put together. How elaborate is the initial setup for this?
I think the first time you put it together can be a bit troublesome. They do have quite a few pictures as reference points and steps that come right in the box, right in the bag, but it does take some paying attention to for sure to try and get everything situated the way it needs to be.
Once that's done, you could kind of leave it that way?
Yeah, I don't anticipate really having to change this going forward. If I do, nothing's disassembling. Everything is pretty much going to stay assembled.
So it's currently set up for Kyle, but if another student came in to use it, the adjustments you might need to make are all done with just sliding and moving things apart. It's not disassembling, starting over again.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, you're just moving these cuffs either wider or smaller. For people that have broader shoulders, maybe a little bit more bigger chested than I am, you want to be able to move these a little further apart so that it's comfortable for that student.
And at the same time, as we're looking at the Swing Align that Kyle has in his hands, there's another aid on the ground here, which is mostly for alignment to make sure that, that we're properly lining up at our target, which is one of my great struggles.
Yeah, alignment's tough because you can't see it from your point of view as the golfer. So
doesn't every golfer think he or she is properly aligned? Our eyes fool us into thinking that.
Yeah, about 90% of golfers aren't aligned properly. So, having something down, certainly something that has adjustability where it's easy to turn and easy to be able to see where your target line is a nice add.
I'm reminded of every time I go to a tour event and I go out to the range because I love watching the best players in the world practice. They all have an alignment aid on the ground. So if they struggle with it, I know that we struggle with it as well. So let's put this thing to use.
Okay.
Slide yourself into the arm cuffs here and let's see if you can make a swing. You'll notice that I've volunteered Kyle to do the actual swinging in this particular video because he's got it already sized up for himself.
So you just slide, the cuffs are pretty comfortable. I think they have neoprene on the inside. You just slide those up right above your elbows. Other videos that I've seen have talked about making sure that your shoulders are aligned, which is a nice visual, which is why they give you this ground baseline, so that when you're setting up, you can see if your shoulders, and it's funny, I just worked on one of my students with this setup. They were struggling with driver. They can see if they're relative to their ball position, if their alignment is correct, which direction they're trying to swing based on where their setup is.
So stay right there. As the teacher, come right behind on the line here, Josh. As the teacher, is your goal to have this and this perfectly parallel to each other?
Not always.
Okay.
Not always. It depends on what type of shot the player is to hit. It's easy to say textbook-wise, cookie cutter golf swing-wise, yeah, let's try and get everything square. But we know that's not the reality with most golfers. So with different strengths and different weaknesses, if somebody really struggles swinging over the top or from outside in, I may set them up where their shoulders are a little tilted to the right. And this does provide that visual aid.
Okay.
It does allow them to be able to see where their shoulders are pointed. So I do like that.
So my understanding is, before we've even hit a ball, that swing align can not only help deal with perhaps the arm looseness and the flailing and the chicken wing, but also with where you're set up on your target. So kind of a multi-purpose.
Yeah.
At the beginning. Okay.
Yeah.
So how does it feel right now? I mean, is it constricting, or you feel good?
It feels comfortable.
Okay.
The majority of the
'Cause you know-
constraint is going to come, let's say, more in the backswing and transition.
You know, it looks like one of those devices that people make fun of, right? I mean, I'm sure that the creators of Swing Align have heard this before. There's no way I'm breaking news. But in those parodies, like Club Pro Guy and whoever, those parodies of all the training aids, this looks like one that would be in that kind of humorous sector.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's not what it turns out to be.
Yeah, it does look a little funny. It seems like quite a contraption, but you know, hitting balls with it and having a specific goal in mind, if your instructor is having you work with this, or you've been watching some videos and you have specific intent on what you're doing, if you're at the driving range and people are having a good chuckle, no one's laughing when they're losing, right? So if you have a specific intent with working with this device and you can go out and execute on the golf course without it, then great.
Yeah. All right, let's see a couple swings. Tell me how it feels. And I mean, you don't struggle with the chicken wing, but perhaps you can learn something from it as well.
Yeah. So it feels good. It made me realize that I do have my arm
It came out of
width.
it a little bit, right?
Yeah,
Your
my
right
arm came
did.
out. Now, part of that's probably because I don't have the biggest biceps in the world, but we do have the arm cuff. What's that?
I didn't want to be the one to say that.
But it did execute. The shot went fairly straight. The numbers were exactly where I wanted them. So a little on the thin side. Once again, it came out. Now, I do have it adjusted fairly wide, so I can have a pretty easy adjustment to be able to move those smaller. You're just moving one of those rubber spacers.
Okay. Does it feel like you're being greatly inhibited, or does it feel like you're being guided?
I think it feels like they're being guided.
Okay.
With somebody that struggles big time with arms separating,
Yeah.
this would be definitely beneficial. You know, there's different options, right? Swing guide would be a nice option for visual aids. A lot of times it'd be backswing rehearsals of figuring out what that arm
Does this bother you
structure
at all?
looks like.
Visually, does this bother you at all to have this coming into your line of sight as you come down to the ball? 'Cause you're rotating through, and
It
I
gets
know
a
that
little
you're-
close.
Okay.
Gets a little close. Now, these are the extensions.
Yeah.
You could take those
This-
out.
This can come right off if you wanted it to,
Yeah.
and if that was bothering you. It's fascinating video right here watching me just basically unscrew an extension, but there you go. So if that was kind of distracting,
Yeah, you can shorten those up and just really work on arm structure. That would fit really well.
all right, well, there is your look at Swing Align. $99.95, I believe, was the website price that I saw. They have a little bit of a promotion going into the holiday season. So you're an instructor. You do this all the time. Practical application. Would a golfer without an instructor know what to do with this?
You have to spend some time watching. Swing a Line has quite a extensive YouTube channel. So they do provide a lot of information on there, but you are going to have to spend some time on there to make sure that you're doing it right and you have the specific goals in mind.
So from the Kyle Martin teaching perspective, let's go scale of 1 to 10. 10 is you've got to have this, and 1 is it's not something you need. Where are you on that scale?
I would say somewhere around a 7.
Okay.
I would say it's definitely beneficial for golfers strictly on an alignment basis. I think having the arm cuffs in there and maybe starting with chipping just to get the basics of what that arm structure has to look like could be beneficial. Full swing, you definitely have to get it tailored to your size and what your
because you don't want to slide
what your tendencies are
all the time.
Yeah.
And I have seen on their website a number of short game examples of just what you're talking about, just kind of getting that pattern and getting that feel down before you go full swing. So.
Yeah, their YouTube channel definitely has a ton of information on it. So that's great to be able to help people that are purchasing this to be able to have clarity on what their goals are going to be.
All right, thanks, man. Swing a Line. There it is, folks. Decide for yourself.